Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hope in the Time of Corona, Ep.03. With me, my name is Matt, if you don't know me, and this morning I want to bring to you a reflection on some of the things that has been kind of going on, and I want to suggest a path. I want to suggest a way forward. So this has been my experience, and maybe it's your experience too. As all of this kind of COVID-19 pandemic stuff has been developing, and we've seen some unsettling behaviours. So it was first reported in the media in different countries, so things like buying up all of the food in shops, and when it reached our shores, buying up all of the toilet roll. I mean, that's kind of how a lot of the Western world has apparently responded. We've bought lots and lots of toilet roll. We've bought all of the food. We've bought all of the paracetamol or whatever it might be, and there's this anxiety. There's this fear. I mean, it's being called panic buying. So people are panic buying, and there's something within me, at least, maybe you too, that goes, surely there's got to be a better way than this. Surely there's got to be a better way to interact than going down this route where we kind of go like, well, I'm going to make sure I'm okay. Forget about everyone else. I'm going to fill my basket, fill the shelves, so I'm hunkered down and ready for the apocalypse. There's something inside me that says there's got to be a better way. And then this unusual thing happens, or has happened to me, in that I felt inspired by what I've seen on social media. I'm not a big social media person, but in the last week here, I'm in our house. We're in quarantine because there are people, as I said, in our house who are showing symptoms. So we're quarantining for 2 weeks, and so I've spent a lot more time on social media than I normally do. And one of the things that I've seen over and over again is these things that have people's response to the coronavirus, which has been utterly inspiring. It is hinted for me at this other way, this better way of doing, this better way of being. And so it's been things like this. My friend Liz posted on her Facebook maybe even a week ago. She posted, hey, if anybody is self-isolating, or if anyone finds himself without loo roll, just send me a message and you can have some of ours. She comes in the opposite spirit, and she says, no, I think I'm ready to share. I think I'm more ready to be connected than bunkered down. And to be clear, I don't think it's because she has an absolute excess. She's sitting on a throne of toilet paper or anything. I think it's because she sees that there is something more important. Or other people have been saying things like, yes, we may be physically distancing. We may find ourselves spending more time alone. But look at what's around you. Maybe we'll learn as human beings to sit and relax, to read a book, to take some time. We'll learn to fall in love with reading again. We'll connect with some of those simple pleasures of life, a cup of tea and a warm bath. Or even further still, people say things like, if you have people around you, gather around the piano, sing some songs, hark back to the time of connection before we were busy, before we were go, and a million distractions everywhere. Hark back to what it was before. Or they'll say play a board game with your family. There's this message of connection over self-preservation. There's this message that somehow in the midst of this darkness we can find ourselves more connected, and it sings to my soul. It sings to me and it says, yes, there is hope in the midst of darkness. There's hope in the time of Corona. It leads me to a new mode of being. It reveals to me a new way to be human. Does that make sense? It leads me to a place where I think, there is a different way of being a human being than what we've been doing all along. There is a more hope-filled way of doing this. And I want to call that a spiritual mountaintop experience. This is a theory of a way of being, and you see it and you read it and you go, yes, I'm in. Or at least that's what I did. So maybe that's what you did too. But then you go out there. And as I say, I'm in quarantine, so I've not been going out a lot, but occasionally I do have to, head to the supermarket. We have to keep eating or whatever. And so I went to the shops on Tuesday afternoon to try and buy some rice and food and bits and bobs for us. And whilst I was out, I literally saw people fighting over toilet roll. I saw people swearing at one another. I saw people being aggressive with shop assistants. I saw, in one supermarket I went into, I saw people, two people holding both ends of one pack of paracetamol. A literal tug of war, back and forth. I want it. No, you can't have it. And all of my ideas that were birthed in these kind of moments of inspiration, as I've seen people saying, no, there's another way of being. All of these ideas about being connected, all of these ideas about being generous and helping and recognizing our common humanity, all of these ideas, they feel suppressed in these moments. It's hard for these ideas, this idea of mine that I might do something different, to be something different. In the face of these kind of extreme situations, it's hard for them to stand up. I've been reading a book recently by a lady called Anne Voskamp, and she wrote this. I wanted to share this with you. She wrote, theories and theologies stillbirth unless they can take on some skin. Breathe in the polluted air of this world and make it happen. What she's saying is that it's one thing to have a theory. It's one thing to have a theology about human dignity and human connection and how there is hope in the time of Corona. It's one thing to have that kind of up in your brain. It's another thing altogether for it to put on flesh and exist in our world which she says, breathe in the polluted air of this world. Like, when you go out there, it feels there's something in the air. Like, literally, there's something in the air. There's something in the air, and it's it's an anxiety-ridden way of being. And unless this theory, unless this aspiration, unless this theology, unless this spiritual mountaintop experience can stand up against that, unless it can persevere in the face of that, what is it worth? In the face of situations like these, which can be scary, I think one of our responses is an anxiety response, which pushes us back a step. It takes us back down the spiritual mountain, where we've arrived at this new place. It says, no, return to where you were before. Return to that fear before. Return to those very first thoughts that you had, which were, maybe I should buy some toilet roll. Maybe I should go and stock up my cupboards. If everyone else is going to buy everything, maybe I should do it too, because I don't want to be the one who gets left out. Maybe I should play the game. Our anxiety sends us back down the mountain that way, and then we rationalise it. Of course we rationalise it. We say, well, if I don't buy all the paracetamol, if I get unwell, then I'm going to be the one who's stuck. So through no fault of my own, through the fault of everything that's going on in this world, I'm going to be the one that's stuck. That doesn't seem fair. The most rational thing to do is just to go and get my own supply. We rationalise it. I think, I read actually recently, and I agree. I think that these rationalizations, small as they may be, because it's a rationalization to, I'm just going to buy a pack of paracetamol. These rationalizations, as they small as they may be, they add up. When everybody does it, it's kind of like voting. It feels like maybe your vote makes no difference. That's what they say around election time. Go and vote. Your one vote makes... How can my one vote make a difference in amongst millions? Well, it can, because they add up. And we're all being called on to vote in these times. We're all being called to make decisions. And if we back down the mountain, if we go back to the place of anxiety, if we play the game, we cast our vote. It doesn't... It seems almost like a trap, to me anyway. This is my experience. It's like God connects with you somewhere in the kindness of Liz sharing her toilet paper. God connects with you somewhere in the kindness of human beings. Do you know that 3 days ago, when we started this Hope in the Time of Corona thing, we put on our website, sign up here if you think that you can help people. If you think you've got any way that you might be able to help people, dropping off groceries, speaking to someone on the phone, whatever it might be, sign up here to do it. And already 3 days in, loads of people have signed up. It connects with me, it sings with me, it speaks of a new way of being. the divine leads me to a new place, a new way of being human by the interactions of other people. And then it feels a bit like a cruel joke of God to then walk outside and be faced with this onslaught of the world. But here's the twist, and this is the good news. The onslaught of the world is what brings us to maturation. We have these ideas, these grand theories and theologies, but they really take on flesh when they encounter the world. That's the point. If they hadn't nothing standing against them, then they would never fully mature. They would never grow fully inside of us. It's the ultimate redemption that the very curse on humanity, these behaviours of self-preservation and this idea that you would survive and you insist on yourself. This very idea is what, when you're faced up to it, that is what brings you to a maturation which brings you through it. The way out of these anxiety-ridden behaviours is the way in. We are called to go and face them. We are called to speak to what this thing that rises up inside us that says, are you sure you want to do this? And we're called to double down at that time. That is how we mature. That is how we come to a place of new life. That is the path of discipleship. We see it in the cross. Jesus, the Christ, defeats death by facing death. He dies and he rises again. That's what we're called to. We're called to die in the face of our anxiety. If it starts rising up, what about this? What about this? We're called to face that full on, not turn and run and return to our previous behaviours. I'm not trying to say this is easy, but I'm trying to say that this is life-giving. And I'm trying to say that by the help of the Spirit, we can take this step as we open up our lives to God and say, and it's like Freya was saying yesterday, when you're in isolation, when you're in quarantine, what better time than to say, God, it's all for you, I'm giving it back to you. And that's what we get to choose to do. That's my encouragement. That's what I'm going to do. That's my encouragement to you. So, may you go and may you know God's Spirit with you. May you know the courage to stand up to a system which drives us back down the mountain. May we find ourselves serving and being connected to our common humanity as we mature. May we find new life on the other side of anxiety. See you guys soon, and peace of Jesus Christ be with you.